and welcome to Olsem Wanem. In this edition, we cover Papua New Guinean culture and traditions and what it means in today's society. Throughout this edition, you will have the chance to see inserts from a Papua New Guinean documentary called Wanem Pasin Tumbuna. It's all about safeguarding Papua New Guinea's cultural heritage, filmed and directed by John Faunt and the Houseboy Association of Papua New Guinea. So, how do we define culture?
Papua New Guinea yumi rich na yumi ga plenty all pasin tumuna blo yumi stabiet. Yumi kam lo town na samblo all this lol pasin all good lo pasin blo respect na all this lol all strong blo pasin blo respect like in narvla gospel even come inside behind, but me talk lol tumuna pasin we even start na is giving me blo value blo or how lo sustaining one blo community by community, society by society, talk place groupings by talk place groupings, right across this country. You still need law all in passing this law, all passing law tumuna way kupla.
Culture is a type of heritage. Culture defines where you and your ancestry came from. Tradition, on the other hand, can be described as a type of activity that you and your ancestors have practiced for a very long period of time. Papua New Guinea is both ethnically and linguistically diverse. It has over 850 indigenous languages and cultures from its 22 provinces from the highlands to the coast.
Pigam, maybe one black common something when maybe usually plan is something like bride price, compensation, married, one black variable one society yeah. It's still strong today too.
Cyber passing to Muna first time or Papa Mama only been stopped before time only been practice him kind culture or some bilas traditional culture or kind of so bilas.
Oh, you plus bilas.
Passing purple na pisin garas putih anta prohet na kisim paint na about lo kind clay or kind clay na rabim lo face.
Over the years, things have changed. One significant example is the usage of language. The Neo-Melanesian Pidgin or Melanesian Pidgin was developed so that locals could easily communicate with outsiders and with each other apart from their indigenous language. Today, Pidgin or Tok Pisin is widely spoken throughout the country.
All side blow, walking all something blow tumuna, story blow tumuna, literacy blow tumuna, and penis. True penis.
Tumbuna blow me story lo me. As before time, I'm also wearing more clothes. As now I'm wearing also wearing more all traditional clothes. As mask tanket. Now me blow cook all pot na slide on Sunday, but also cook all bamboo na. Also sleep under. Now I'm sleep all mattress, but also sleep under all mat. We all make all. Karugali.
Is la pasin tumbuna em dai now. Isiri em walk log dai na go. Na planti blo mi blo yam plamangi. Mi plano walk long. Behind him one more papa blo mi blo walk long make him.
Planti mi blo ilu gomosem. Now this la spirit start lo lose so empa also one long this la mi blo walk lo foul now. Planti lo mi blo now generation mi blo start lo and mi blo confused.
Kanu before now you mean looking on nice kanu even all motlock. Now all obulu kanu lolia please all no gadiwa ba no so kanu osene minasawe but also collecting no solwaran no sa tarims la piece of log go kanu langa in extraordinary kanu all this like something around logada hablo country igat plenty all holim passing to muna sampla em ilus now sampla emino because lo early missionary sampla em because lo Niblo passing blow or some western passing modernized passing he come inside all town cities blame plenty of yambla blame you glo suruglo disla side.
tina samane gulha beti pasin mapo o ake tomono mapo ake na zo mukine tapane arahu rasul de wana zo jei pamane biki opana paitamo o pai kila kini na onene tople sistema isabe kila kamitamo ne minika onene mastolo ko ako to lo kono kene moro ko ako no ne mukine tapane ne o kono biki pasin da mana tamana la mamu tawasu oka boka gulha beti pasin mapo ne krem ore sai timo ne ze ani kiminda mana kiminale.
It is said that Papua New Guinea's internationally renowned cultural diversity is under tremendous stress, as village-based lifestyles are being replaced by cash economy and urban choices. However, not everyone is losing touch of culture. One of them is the National Museum of Papua New Guinea. Stay with us as Dr. Andrew Mo'utu speaks about the history of the museum, the Parliament House restoration and the National Cultural Property Preservation Act.
The museums are a real phenomenon. We have our museums as a strong bias towards cultural and historical heritage, as you can see in our collections here, which is predominantly cultural. The other museums around the world that have a very strong scientific bias towards geology or towards animal life and plant life and so on. Ours has a strong cultural bias on its basis. The museum has the promise of doing a lot more work if we organize ourselves here with more qualified personnel, more appropriate government funding and directed programs. We will possibly do some of those things, but we are not alone. A museum is a different kind. Our museum in particular is a different kind of museum compared to most other metropolitan museums around the world. Also, we are fundamentally also a law enforcing organization. We regulate certain aspects of our cultural heritage, the traffic of cultural property leaving the source of Papua New Guinea. We look at development interventions coming in, like putting in a logging there or the gas project. So we work with those kinds of people to try and at least preserve or salvage cultural material which might come under the impact of interventions.
Right next door to the National Museum is the National Parliament House. The National Parliament House is no ordinary building and is certainly an attraction in itself, built in the style of the map brick house Tambaran. The architecture is based on spirit houses found near Wewak in the East Sepik province. However, as peaceful as it looks, news hit the headlines as changes occurred within the walls of the Parliament House. As recent as a month ago, in December 2013, media headlines focused on a move made by Parliament House Speaker Honourable Theo Zerenuok. In the name of a reformation, restoration and modernisation program, it was the removal of cultural artefacts by the Speaker Zerenuok, which caused an emotional response from the public.
The progress of what is happening in the Parliament, this doesn't seem to be successful. Despite the Prime Minister's intervention, the Grand Chief's intervention, the train...
The museum was informed about these things 4 weeks or 6 weeks in advance. We raised our objections based on law, and we wanted to try and involve the Parliament and the museum in some more informed educational way about the history of our country, and that was not taken heed of, despite our advice and request to the Parliament, especially to the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk, they went ahead and removed the cultural decorations, especially the lintel, on the 26th of November, and subsequently the week after. They chopped down the totem poles inside the Grand Hall. And the totem poles inside the Grand Hall was done the morning after we removed the after the lintel was removed, we did have a meeting with the speaker, but he was adamant to pursue his agenda of cleansing and reforming and modernizing the parliament. Culture is about expression, culture is about communication, and culture is about being able to mediate ideas, mediate meanings, mediate values between groups of people, individuals, and so on.
But lintels or this particular image, they provide us spaces to imagine not only who I am.
Concerns grew large and wide around the nation, giving obvious evidence to strong ties between citizens and their heritage. The country's founding Prime Minister, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare, also came to the forefront, appealing for an end to what was labelled a desecration. It wasn't until the current Prime Minister of Papua New Guinea, Peter O'Neill, personally intervened by obstructing any more removals of artefacts in the Parliament House. In a balanced contrast to the public backlash, Speaker Zerenwalk received support of the restoration program. This came from another parliamentarian, Mendi Open Member D. Kewanu.
The much-debated parliament standoff between Speaker Theo Zerenwalk, members of parliament, civil society and the public is still fueling. However, Mendi Open Member D. Kewanu embraced the move by the 9th Parliament Speaker, saying spiritualism through the word of God had united the diverse cultures of PNG.
So we've got to give prominence somewhere. And we haven't been doing that for the last 38 years, 40 years of independence. We haven't given prominence to the work of missionaries, the work of God on the floor of Parliament. Or in the Parliament, actually the Parliament itself. So that what the Speaker has done, all of us are going to support the Speaker.
Speaker Zerenwalk spoke out publicly through paid advertisements in the national newspapers. In his public message, he described the reasons behind the artefacts removal. He also states,
"The Parliament had become a house riddled with rotten administrative systems and processes that urgently needed reformation and restoration and modernization to bring it up to the international standards."
He revealed his plans for the new pillar of national identity and unity, which replaces the old and removed totem pole, which had cultural value. However, how much cultural value was up for debate, igniting the cultural debate till today and bringing to the table the National Cultural Property Preservation Act. Dr. Mautu from the National Museum explains the purpose of the Act.
The National Cultural Property Act, which the museum enforces, in my view, this is the most supreme legislative expression of nationalism ever found in legislation. This law, and it predates the birth of Papua New Guinea with its constitution. But this is a legislation that is, in my reading and in my appreciation, is the supreme expression, legislative expression of nationalism ever found in law.
The National Museum explained the Preservation Act. However, here are other popular ways culture has been preserved and promoted through different types of mediums throughout Papua New Guinea's young history. For example, music and arts is an appealing and captivating form. Let's take a look.
We have so many cultures, we have different cultures in our own in our provinces. But today, as a young boy, I can see that the cultures are dying out.
As a preschool teacher, me said, ask him all time. Me teach go one time. Ask him all. You play can give him one play league part lo language play play. Or to play lo mama play and call him one plus santi na miarim or papa play and call him na miarim. Mama salani or no gat. This la santi me ask him because almost have lo one play word blow to play same as step inside lo. So responsibility blom ta or semi talk finish. and work lo mi pla ol mama papa lo mi pla mas laini mo lo eliacho.
Kada yang propini ne interest lo style all technology something as all something where all nibla something am no all something lo place and all lose interest.
The preservation of cultural and traditional resources is a huge challenge for Papua New Guinea. However, there are ways in which cultural and traditional resources can be preserved, such as through music and arts.
On cultural heritage, you got 2 plus something Mibla museums are looking again, and 1 plus tangible, and another plus intangible. Okay, tangible means all something where you can look him, na hold him, na feel him, na handle you. Example, all kind of all spear or punara or all kind of something bilum or kind of sema. Na intangible mainly concerning sawe na tintin long old man, where you not look him na hold him, but all by expressing lo mouse long all or playing long kind of small music.
Particularly music inside the country blimi and playing one big role lo expressive arts blimi lo expressing how some lo one word lo white man also talk aesthetics lo appreciating the music na all arts blimi and so inside the country we got plenty of arts kind of some visual arts or painting or pottery na sculpture na and there's a diverse thread. You got plenty varieties now. Inside of dance too. All white man can call him dance and drama, but now all can separate him as music, dance and drama and visual arts. But inside the country, as me looking at some, you mean not separate him all these little arts here, because the arts have become some lifestyle. Believe me, you got sing. You got Danish blogo garden, or you got all ceremonial music where you say performing no time of ceremonies so blow houseman or this like an blogo panim abu so this like you got all sing blow yet. Lo university level or in any institution where you teach him culture and arts, you need to preserve him this all music because I'm giving national identity, I'm giving national pride and heritage me too. So me look at education and playing big role, you must teach him 2 on them side by side. You not can put him away 1 pla. You can teach him all traditional music. You can teach him all choir music. You can teach him all string band music. But you teach him all. At the same time, you borrow him all Western style, Western notation blow. Just help him line him. So you can line how to read him, write him music. But at the same time, you can hold him on style music blow. You mean in some way married him to blow on them, marry the both so you can preserve him on music blow me too.
Deliberately, because I'm looking at musical instruments to my right. Now, musical instruments are very very cute in very powerful in evoking this idea, because when you hear the sound of a musical instrument, like a phone even, or like a piano or a saxophone or a kundu or a garamut or a trumpet, the sound actually tells whoever is listening to it, the sound drags the origin of or the genesis along with it.
The Sangoma band of the late 1970s was one of the first bands to collaborate traditional instruments such as kundus and garamuts with modern-day instruments such as the piano. They were also one of the first bands in the country to perform internationally.
Usually if we get a traditional instrument and work on it, and we find the pitch or the sound from the traditional instrument and we find it from the piano, what note the traditional instrument is given. Then we try and make an arrangement that suit the both instruments.
One other band that portrayed PNG culture and tradition through music and the use of traditional musical instrument is Tambaran culture.
You're with Olsem Wanem. We hope you've been enjoying the snippets from Lookout and Passin Tumbuna, a John Font film. When we come back, we talk to the National Cultural Commission, festivals and UNESCO. Stay tuned. UNESCO is the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. This week, UNESCO announced a Global Village Festival in Port Moresby to promote the World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development.
Global Village Festival to be held in Port Moresby from the 21st to the 24th of May comprises of events to commemorate and promote 21 May, the World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development, the first ever UNESCO Global Theme Project in Papua New Guinea. The festival marks an event for residents of Port Moresby to interact, share, and learn about each other's culture and exchange in dialogue to live together better.
Festival in Port Moresby to promote the World Day for Cultural Diversity for Dialogue and Development. It's going to be on the 21st of May. This is going to be the first ever UNESCO Global Theme Project in PNG. Cultural capital is not only crucial to advancing sustainable economic growth, it is also an ethical imperative which is vital to achieving development goals.
After 38 years or so, we came back to the same question. What defines us? What makes us unique? What makes us different? What makes us attractive? And what provides the basis of imagining ourselves as uniquely distinct and different from another culture, another nation, and so on.
In the year of festivals, the National Museum also proudly announced the anticipation for the 5th Melanesian Arts Festival to be hosted in Papua New Guinea.
In a news conference today, Minister Kondra announced that the NEC has earmarked over 50 million kina to prepare for the festival.
I'm pretty sure that we will be prepared to host this event at the time expected.
The festival adds to the list of major events to be held in the country over the next 3 years. Next month, the country will host the Youth Ministers' Conference and in 2015, the 15th South Pacific Games. Most of the festival activities will be held in Port Moresby, but there are also plans for some exhibitions in selected provinces. Minister Kondra said the festival preserved and protected PNG's cultures in the face of globalization, something the Melanesian Spearhead Group has advocated.
Our Melanesians' way of doing things must be maintained, must be promoted, must be preserved.
The festival will be organized by a National Melanesian Arts and Culture Committee and coordinated by the National Cultural Commission. The National Events Ministry will also be involved.
Also on the Cultural Festivals and Special Events calendar this year, as advertised by the Tourism Promotion Authority and the National Cultural Commission, is the Hiri Mawale Festival in Port Moresby, Warwargira Mask Festival in Kokopo, Yamut Cultural Festival and New Island Day in New Island, National Mask Festival in Kimbe, Sipik River Crocodile Festival in Ambuti District, Enga Cultural Show in Enga, Mount Hagen Show in Mount Hagen, Divine Word University Cultural Show in Madang, Guroko Show in Eastern Highlands, Kalam Festival in Simbai, Madang Province, Maribeh Show in Leh, National Canoe and Kundu Festival in Alatau. That concludes this edition of Olsem, Wanem, keeping Papua New Guinea's culture alive in today's society. A special thank you to John Font of Houseboy Association for the feature of Lookout in Pasin Tumbuna film, the National Museum, UNESCO and everyone else who have participated in this episode. If you'd like to share your comments and stories, keep your messages coming to the address on your screen and contact us via our Facebook page. Join us next week as we give you back to school education expectations from students, parents and academic teachers. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your viewing on your #1 station, MTV.